When I read your autobiography, Josser, a number of years ago, there's some very telling sort of stuff in there about your time with Santa Circus and then the Roncalli, was it?
Circus
Roncalli. And you even say at one point, I think you say, "I am not a circus artist." What do you really mean by that? That you're not a circus artist?
I mean, I think the thing is like when I wrote Josser, I was at a point when I finished it, when I didn't really know exactly how things were going to go with setting up our own show, and I felt quite overwhelmed by the kind of scale and the glory of the continental circus that Circus Roncalli is a part of, and quite overwhelmed by the task in hand of setting up our own circus, because that was always the plan. That was always the plan, to be a circus director. But there's been many times when I've just thought, or to have my own circus. But there's been many times when I've just thought, how on earth are we going to do this? How does it happen? How do we make it happen? And but I also think that the people who I think circus practitioners, like circus directors, quite often come from outside of circus, and they kind of are circus fans in a way. And I think that sort of kind of dilettante love of the circus I think that's really important quality to have if you're setting up a circus. Like, you can't have any sort of cynicism. You've got to look at it with an open-eyed, kind of in awe of it slightly, kind of in love with it and wanting to make your own version of it. And I think that's what's driving quite a few circus director producers.
And going back to your first experience of the circus, I mean, you had a fairly conventional upbringing in a nice village in Gloucestershire, and you and then there was a tragedy in your family with your mother being very badly injured, and you effectively lost your mother at that stage. And then I think you went to university. So what made you? I mean, did you know already then that you actually wanted to try and experience the circus, or was that something that happened while you were at university, or?
Oh no! So I joined the circus. So I joined the circus in my gap year. So I had a chance to go and work on the circus following my mum's accident.
So that was before you went to university.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So following mum's accident, which happened sort of between finishing sixth form and applying for Oxford. So it happened in that autumn, following finishing school.
Yeah.
I went in the following August. I got a chance to go and work in a circus in America, because my brother's wife's family have a circus in America. So they're the Balding family, so they're racehorse trainers and so on. But they have a cousin in America called David Balding, and he set up a circus called Circus Flora that was set up around an orphaned African elephant. And he's a sort of classic ringmaster, sort of classic circus man with a top hat and a monkey on his shoulder and an elephant. Like, the elephant's subsequently gone back to a reservation in America, so in Africa. But for a while she was on the show. She was a young elephant, and I just went down. I was 18, and I just fell in love with the whole, like, the families and the travelling and the children and the animals and the people kind of living cheek by jowl. And it was all it was so romantic and bohemian, but also so sort of civilised. And they all sat down for supper in the cook tent, and all the different nationalities would bring a dish of food, and I just loved all the kind of dressing up and the whole sort of surreal, sort of hyper-real world of the circus.
Did you ever sort of think, well, actually, I'm not going to bother to go back to university. I'm going to carry on with this?
I mean, I totally thought that. I was so swept up in it, and I had my adjustable banner that I bought there, because I was kind of like helping with light, sort of putting lights up and stuff, and I sort of carried that around with me everywhere, and it was a lot of like circuses kind of moving stuff around, like building up big seating stands. So I just sort of fell in love with the whole thing of just graft and rolling up your sleeves and like shifting like 1,000 seating boards and working in a team and kind of learning how to work and how to. So they'd have like big groups of convicts would come and help them. And I sort of ended up being in charge of this group of convicts. And I sort of found, like, as 18, I found that I could communicate to people that I'd never met before and had nothing in common with, and I just found the whole thing really liberating and really exciting. And also there were the horses, and so on. So but they said, the circus people, they were like, oh no, you have to go back to England and do your degree. So I did sort of think it'd be, you know, stay in the circus. But no, I mean, I was always going to go to university. Really.
You must have been a fairly unusual fresher when you arrived at Oxford, having spent a year with the circus in America.
In some ways, I think I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I left, and I didn't work very hard while I was there. And it was when I was at university, and I wish I had done more work. But anyway, it was just at the time when, you know, we were kind of selling up our family home, and the sort of repercussions of my mother's accident were becoming really sort of manifest. Because I mean, the thing about a tragedy is the day before is no different to the day after a tragedy. That it starts to change your life slowly, and it takes years and years, like fault lines running through your life, sort of thing. So I mean, I think, but then there are all sorts of people at university, and I'm not sure if I just knew that I wanted to run a circus.
Was that quite difficult to be patient? I mean, you say you wish you'd worked harder. I don't think we all say that about
Yeah,
university,
yeah,
don't we? But
yeah.
but do you think that you know, the fact that you were so desperate to get back into the ring, as it were, was you know, did that make it difficult to actually get down and do that studying, you know, and complete the degree?
I don't think it made it difficult to study. I think actually, if anything, it's been one of the most useful decisions I've ever made, because at least a decision's been made and at least there's a plan. And I think that's been something I've been able to hang on to, because I said that whole period at Oxford was following closely on from my mother's accident, and it wasn't a very happy time. And having that, just knowing what I was going to do, even though I didn't know how I was going to do it, was really useful. I mean, and it's still the work I did at university definitely helped with running the show. I mean, without a doubt.